3 levels of wealth, power, and control that expose everything. The 3 levels of wealth, power, and control that expose everything. This is quite possibly the most important video you will ever watch in your life. It's taken me 20 years, 20 plus years, almost 30 years to figure this out. From politics to the puppeteers to the war, the hidden war beneath it all. Everywhere you look, people are fighting. Red versus blue, left versus right. One side screaming that the other side is destroying the country. But here's the truth. That's exactly the illusion they want you trapped in. Because they can keep you fighting for your neighbor, with your neighbor. You'll never look up to see who's actually pulling the strings. The game isn't political. It's psychological. It's financial. It's spiritual. They've turned the world into a circus distraction. Class wars, race wars, culture wars, all designed to keep you emotional, divided, and easy to control. Every crisis becomes another opportunity to tighten the screws, pass new laws, convince you it's all for your safety. But underneath all that noise, there's one thing almost no one questions: the money. Because if you can control the money, you control everything that sits on top: the politicians, the media, the schools, even culture itself. Broken money leads to broken morals, broken families, broken nations. It's an invisible rot at the foundation of civilization. And that's why Bitcoin matters, because it's the first time in human history, first system in human history built entirely on truth. It can't be printed, manipulated, or weaponized. It exposes everything that's fake: fake wealth, fake leaders, fake promises. But here's the part. Even more than sound money, people miss something else. Beyond the money, there's still one more layer: a hidden war, not for your dollars, but for the ultimate prize, one that almost no one speaks of. And until you see it, you'll never understand who really controls the world or how to break free from it. Level 1, the political illusion, bread, circuses, and chaos, the bubble of distraction. This is the structure of human control. This is the third level, is hidden. We will talk about it in a few minutes. But this, after 20 to 30 years of studying money, everything you can possibly think of, this is a 3-part framework that controls everything in the world that we are dealing with. Everything. The 99% live here. They live in level 1, the political illusion. They think politics is the highest form of power. They think if they just vote harder, shout louder, or get the right guy in office, shuffle some deck chairs around the Titanic, vote in the next captain of the Titanic, everything will be fixed. But politics isn't power. It's theater. It's a puppet show run by professional actors pretending to fight each other while collecting checks from the same masters. The media plays the soundtrack. The schools teach the script. And the people, they clap, they boo, they choose sides, and they think they're free. Meanwhile, the same laws get passed, the same wars get funded, the same debt grows higher. Heard this story before? You're not watching democracy. By the way, the United States is a republic as well. Thought I should mention that. You're watching a play written by bankers, performed by politicians. Every few years, they give you a new villain, a new savior, a new slogan, a new captain of the Titanic, and it works every single time. They keep you busy fighting culture wars, class wars, race wars, gender wars, anything that keeps your eyes off the real enemy. Because every minute you spend arguing about right and left, they're moving the goalposts further left and right. They're controlling the entire field. Remember when Rahm Emanuel said, "Never let a good crisis go to waste"? Do you remember that? Does anyone remember that? That might be an important thing to think about and talk about. Or when George Bush said, "Mission accomplished," or there was WMDs in Iraq. Or how about this one? When Jonathan Gruber said the stupidity of the American voter is what got Obamacare elected or got it passed. Anyone remember any of these things over the last 20 years of just the political chaos and the political mess of stripping your liberties and freedoms one after another? People believing it over and over and over again. Never let a good crisis go to waste. Every crisis becomes a new excuse to expand power, to spy, to censor, to print more money, currency, and call it stimulus, quantitative easing. They keep the masses addicted to outrage, social media. They light your brain on fire while they quietly tighten the chains. That's why you can't fix this from the inside. You can't fix the current system from the system. You can't reform a game that was designed to keep you distracted. You have to exit the game. You can't keep playing on the same game board and expecting a different result. And that's where sound money comes in. Because once you follow the money, you realize politicians aren't the top of the pyramid. They're just the face of it. They're employees. The real power sits behind the curtain. The ones who own the printing press. They control the narrative, the debt, and your perception of value. And as long as they control the money, they control your minds, our minds. This is why so few people ever graduate from level 1. It's comfortable. It's comfy. It's cozy in your recliner to believe your vote matters, to believe you're making a difference. It's easy to stay angry. Look, we just elected someone who believes nothing of the American ideals in New York City just now, because people have the game so muddled that they think the systems, the economic layer is built into the monetary layer and it all goes together. But this is what we're exposing. It's separate. They're all completely jumbled up, so no one can see what's actually going on. But when you finally see it, you start asking deeper questions. Who funds these campaigns? Who benefits from every crisis? Who owns the debt that keeps the world enslaved and keeps all of us grinding on the hamster wheel? And that's when the masks fall off. And you start to see level 2. Level 2, the puppeteers behind the curtain. Who owns the money owns the world. Level 2, once you break out of that political illusion, you start seeing the real architecture of control. Because above the politicians are the money masters, the puppeteers. They don't need to debate or campaign or beg for votes because they control the thing everyone else is begging for, the money. It's quite simple. Think about it. Every politician, every corporation, every government, every war, all of it runs on one thing, the currency or the money. And whoever creates the currency controls the civilization. Central banks are the new kings. They rule without borders, without term limits, without accountability. And every time they printed a dollar, they steal a piece of your time, your labor, your freedom, without ever needing your permission. And that energy and time has to come from somewhere. And it's stolen through all of us, through inflation. That energy and time cannot just be printed into oblivion. If it would, we'd all be wealthy. This is what they never teach you in school, because if you understood, the whole illusion would collapse. Broken money breaks everything. It distorts prices, destroys savings, inflates bubbles, and turns governments into addicts. They print to stay in power, and you pay the price in higher cost, lost purchasing power, and endless inflation. I'm actually going to try to bring up another slide here so you can see exactly what we're talking about here. Mr. Rothschild himself. Let me issue control the nation's money, and I care not who writes the laws. From hundreds of years ago, right? Pretty simple. It's deeper than economics. It's moral, because when the foundation of society is built on theft, corruption seeps into everything else. Justice becomes subjective. Truth becomes relative. Families fall apart. It's all downstream from dishonest money. And that's why the same small circle of global banking families control every empire, every rise and every fall for centuries. The crown, the cartels, the conglomerates, they all learn the same rules. He who controls that money supply controls the people. Right here, you can see it plain as day. You see, politicians aren't the rulers. They're the salesmen. They're the bankers are the architects. And the media, they're the marketing department. It's all one ecosystem, a loop that feeds on your every fear and dependency. But here's the good news. The loop has a weak point, because for the first time in history, we have a money they can't control. That's what Bitcoin represents. A financial system built on math and truth, not politics and lies. A protocol that answers to no one, yet serves everyone. No bailouts, no inflation, no secret meetings, just code and transparency and rules that apply equally to all. This is why the establishment hates it, because Bitcoin exposes the scam. It shines light on a system that only survives in darkness. And this is also where the battle turns personal, because it's not just about wealth preservation anymore. It's not about wealth preservation anymore. It's about moral preservation. It's about whether you'll keep living in a system built on theft or move to one built on truth. And when you see how deep the money system goes, you realize something profound. Even the puppeteers aren't truly in control, because there's still one more level, the hidden layer that even the central bankers can't touch, the battle behind all battles, the war between good and evil, truth and deception, light and darkness. And this is where we go next, level 3. The level 3 is a spiritual war. The real battle is unseen. So we peel back the layers. First, the political illusion, the puppet show that keeps the masses divided, then the puppeteers, the money masters who pull the strings behind the curtain. But now we reach the top of the pyramid or the bottom. So I'm going to share this final piece. I'm going to go back to this. You can see good and evil spirits, what controls everything. This is the end game. This is the end game. Because the real war, again, it's not economic. It isn't political, it's spiritual. And this is why money is spiritual. This is why Bitcoin has been talked about being spiritual, because the entire world runs on this. And this is so important. Before you hop, skip, and jump away, hear me out. This is a level beyond the money, the level even most sound money people can't see, because they think if we just fix the money, we'll fix the world. But fixing the money doesn't fix the human heart. We live in a fallen world, a world where every person is made in God's image. Yet we're all cracked vessels, capable of both incredible good and unspeakable evil. And there are some cracked vessels that have evil incept them. Evil doesn't announce itself. It doesn't march in with horns and a pitchfork. It whispers. It flatters. It tells you you're your own God, that you're smarter than truth itself. And that's the oldest lie in the book. The same one whispered in the garden, you will be like God. That's what every tyrant believes before he burns down his nation. That's what every banker believes before he robs the world blind. And that's what every ordinary person believes when they choose comfort over courage, safety over truth, and pride over humility. This is why evil always finds a way back in. Because good people fight one battle, celebrate the win, and then go home. But the enemy never sleeps. It waits. It creeps. And the moment good men let their guard down, evil slides right back in and fills the vacuum. You can't fight this battle with policies or protests. You fight it with truth. You fight it by taking responsibility for your own soul, by humbling yourself before something greater. Because when man removes God from the center, he always puts himself there. And history shows what happens next. Every empire that's fallen thought it could outsmart God. Rome, Babylon, the Soviets, the Spanish, the English, the Weimar Republic, every single one collapsed for the same reason: pride. They built their own Tower of Babel, brick by brick, thinking they'd reach heaven without him. But the higher you build truth as your foundation, the higher you build without truth as your foundation, the harder you fall. Because when you step back and look at the entire system, the politics, the money, the culture, you realize it's all symptoms of the same disease. A world that's lost its anchor in truth. You can't have an honest society without honest money. And you can't have a moral society without faith in something higher than yourself. Those two, sound money and faith, are the twin pillars of civilization. Remove either one and everything downstream collapses. The river gets polluted, the people get lost, and the world starts worshiping false gods, false idols, whether that's the state, the market, or the self. But here's the good news. You were born into this moment for a reason: to wake up, to see through the illusion, to choose truth over deception, humility over pride, and freedom over fear. This battle will never end. Not until Christ returns, at least. But you and I can decide which side we're fighting on. Humility is the key. Admitting you're strong and weak, brilliant and blind, all at once. That's the posture of truth. That's where light enters. So stop fighting the illusion and start fighting the real war, the one that begins in the heart. Because if you can't name the enemy, you'll never defeat it. And if you don't anchor yourself in truth, in faith, in sound money, in moral courage, in here, the world will gladly hand you a lie that feels easier to believe. But not us. We were made for more than comfort. We were made for conviction. We were made for freedom. And it starts by choosing truth over everything. We only need a couple percent to drag everyone over the finish line. The fight will not be easy, but it will be worth it. I appreciate you guys. That is really the culmination of 20 to 30 years of me. And I have one last thing I'm going to share here, which is a passage that basically goes through each one. I had a slide for each passage, for each level. And this level is quite simple. And it's very easy to see once you see it, but it does sometimes become hard. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. So this is not flesh and blood, right? We're battling something bigger. And this is what so many people, we all do it. I've been guilty of it. But this is what is exposed again and again. We must take the battle seriously. And I know this is a battle because we keep falling into the same traps, the same poor cycles, the same turnings over and over and over for thousands of years. And no one talks about this. This is the most condensed version of the fourth turning and what's happening and what has been happening in the world and why we cannot seem to learn the mistakes of the past. We think we have we have it too good, we have it too easy. We don't need to do anything else. We got it all figured out. Laying down our life, picking up the cross, serving others, that is the way. But these three levels are the most important thing. If we can't understand this as a society, we are going to have a very, very hard time. An incredibly hard time. So that's it right there. The structure of human control. And this is some of what I'll be writing about in a couple of the books that will be coming out over the next year or two. This is exactly some of what's going to be happening. So I appreciate you guys a ton. We'll see the chat here. What's up, guys? Clean Machine. What's up? Ian from Alberta. I love it. When are you guys breaking away? Again, money. Root yourself in truth, in truthful money, in your faith. Yes. Paulie D. I love it. I love your guys' names, by the way. It's widespread, a long time coming. Bitcoin is our last weapon. Yes, it is. I was sitting front row in Montreal. Good talk, Brandon. I appreciate your passion. Thank you. I appreciate that a lot. Thank you so much. They can't tell us a secret, then they would be exposed. You were 100% right, Ian. That is spot on. Sharper, yes, the Lord Jesus Christ, first and foremost. Study the fiat system and you'll see how much manipulation there is. Exactly. Yeah, absolutely incredible. So I appreciate you guys. If you have any questions, if anything in here, throw them in here. Otherwise, I'm going to jump off and try to keep these a little bit shorter. I will be doing, like I said, we'll be doing some videos like this that are a little more coordinated in the sense of putting out content that I deem very important, but also we'll be doing some daily shows as well. So we'll be mixing in some daily shows, maybe some pre-recorded or live readings, things like this, mixed in with the podcast. We have two podcasts going to be coming out starting later this week. We've got Tor Eklund and Michael Hazard talking about behind the scenes of the legal world in Bitcoin and what's going on. It's going to be really a fascinating, high level talk we had. So you're not going to want to miss that in a few days. It's wild. And then after that, we're going to have 2 podcasts a week, and the Clips channel. We've been putting out a clip or 2 every single day. A lot of content coming. We got to overwhelm the system, guys. We got to overwhelm the system with sound money, with truth, with faith, with freedom. We have to, because the fight is here at our doorstep. And the only thing the evil's looking for is for good people to stand by idly and do nothing. So we need to be loud in every single way we can. Every single different way each one of us are called to. So yes, Sharper, I will be doing, some of these I've been trying to practice. I was using Riverside before, now I'm using Restream for the lives. I record the podcast with Riverside. So I've just been getting my hands around some of the technical things. Our team is building out a bit on the back end. We have a couple of people working on the back end, whether it's editing and different stuff. So again, I appreciate you guys supporting the show just by, getting your seed plates from Stampseed. Code Brandon for 15% off store wide there. We have a bunch of great sponsors now. I feel incredibly blessed for the sponsors we have now, because they're all Bitcoin only. They have the ethos. They believe the talk that I just gave. They believe that exact thing. So Foundation, their Passport Core, Soap Miner, Meanwhile, Crowd Health, and Orange Pill app in the Bitcoin way. An incredible group of people. Again, like a lot of them work together. It just shows you I want to be partnered with people that are going the right direction, and we won't be partnered with people that don't believe in freedom and privacy in these things first. That's got to be the thing. I want to put things out there to the people that I'm fortunate enough to have watch us I want to put those good products into the world so we can speed up this system, speed up the adoption. Bitcoiners helping Bitcoiners, value for value, all these euphemisms, but truly, I appreciate you guys. So again, there's a lot of links in the description if you are looking for stuff. Very simple things to go grab to support the show. But we have a few people that we're out on the team to put out lots of content and just overall in the system. It's a self-fulfilling loop here. So want to put out more and more content for you guys. And it gives me some time actually to write some of these books too. The team doing some of these things. So it gives me time to write some books and do some other stuff that we have coming as well. So, and in the live show, taking some things off my plate, doing a live show, the daily bit. I'm trying to, like I said, get some of these things technically down so I can have the time and the resources and the ability and just the frame of mind to just do a 10-minute show or 10 or 20-minute show daily, or at least a handful of days a week, and just kind of keep up instant reaction videos, things of that nature. So appreciate you guys a ton, and let me know. I love you guys continuing to show up, come in, give me feedback. Just appreciate you a ton. You guys rock, and we'll see you on the next one. Again, links in the description. The pod's coming. A lot of good content coming for you guys. Can't wait. Thank you, Ian, Sharper, everybody, Polly D. I don't know who else I saw in here.